Upon collapsing at my ceremony, the medical staff contacted my parents. They failed to appear. Instead, my sister mentioned me in a picture. Finally, Paris vacation, no worries, no turmoil. I remained silent. Several days passed, yet I was frail and connected to devices. I then observed 65 unanswered calls, plus a message from Dad. We need you. Respond now. Without hesitation, What if the people you love most, the ones who are supposed to protect you, choose a luxurious vacation over your life-threatening brain surgery? 2 weeks ago, I was living that nightmare. I collapsed on stage, giving the biggest speech of my life, only to wake up and find out my family thought I was nothing more than stress and drama, and they had gone to Paris without me. My name is Grace, and I'm 22. Just a little over 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to be delivering my valedictorian speech to a crowd of 3,000 people. Instead, I ended up collapsing right there on stage. The doctors told me I had a brain tumor. They needed to operate immediately. My parents were called. No answer. 3 days later, I finally woke up, surrounded by beeping machines, tubes everywhere. The first thing I saw wasn't my family's worried faces. It was an Instagram post from my sister, Meredith, the whole family smiling in front of the Eiffel Tower, with the caption, "Family trip in Paris. Finally, no stress, no drama. No stress, no drama." That's what I was to them. I said nothing. I didn't comment. I didn't even call to confront them. Not until 65 missed calls from my dad popped up on my screen, along with one frantic text. "We need you. Answer immediately." That's when it hit me. They weren't calling because they missed me. They were calling because they needed something else entirely. Let me take you back a bit, to 4 weeks before graduation. I'm standing in my childhood kitchen, watching my mom flip through a stack of wedding magazines. Not for me, of course. For Meredith. My older sister had just gotten engaged, and suddenly, our entire house revolved around her timeline. "Grace," Mom said, not even looking up. "Can you pick up the napkin samples from the printer tomorrow? Meredith's too busy with dress fittings." I just stared at her. "Mom, I have finals." "You'll manage," she said dismissively. "You always do. That's the thing about being the reliable one. Everyone just assumes you'll handle it." I'd been handling everything for 4 years straight. Working 25 hours a week at a coffee shop, maintaining a 4.0 GPA, paying my own tuition through scholarships and tips. Meanwhile, Meredith's entire education? Fully funded by our parents. Every semester. No questions asked? "Mom," I tried, keeping my voice casual. "I actually wanted to talk to you about graduation. I need to get something to wear for the ceremony. Maybe we could go shopping this weekend?" She finally looked up, but her eyes were already drifting back to the glossy pages. "Sweetie, you're so good at finding deals online. I'm sure you'll figure something out. I need to focus on your sister's engagement party. It's in 2 weeks. But graduation is..." Her tone sharpened. "Grace, your sister is bringing her fiancé's parents. Everything needs to be perfect." I just nodded. I always nodded. Later that evening, I was folding laundry in my old room when I overheard Mom on the phone with her friend, Linda. "Oh, the graduation. Yes, she's valedictorian. Can you believe it?" A pause. A laugh. "But honestly, the timing is terrible. Meredith's engagement party is that same week, and that takes priority. Grace understands. She's always been so independent." Independent. That's the word they used when they really meant forgettable. That night, I called the only person who ever asked how I was actually doing. Grandpa Howard picked up on the second ring. "Gracie, I was just thinking about you." Something in my chest just loosened. "Hey, Grandpa. Tell me everything. How are finals? How's the speech coming along?" I sank onto my bed, phone pressed to my ear. For the next 20 minutes, I actually talked. About my thesis, about the speech I'd rewritten 6 times, about how terrified I was to stand in front of thousands of people. "Grace," Grandpa said when I finally finished. "Do you have your dress yet? Shoes? Do you need any?" My throat tightened. "I'm fine, Grandpa." "Really?" He was quiet for a moment. The kind of quiet that means he doesn't believe you. "Your grandmother would be so proud of you," he finally said. "You know that, right? She always said you had her spirit." I never met Grandma Eleanor. She died before I was born. But I'd seen pictures. Everyone said I looked exactly like her. The same dark hair, the same stubborn chin. "I'll be there, Grace. Front row. I wouldn't miss it for the world." "Thanks, Grandpa." My voice cracked slightly. "That means a lot. And Grace, I have something for you. A gift. Your grandmother wanted you to have it when you graduated. I've been holding on to it for years. Before I could ask what it was, Meredith burst into my room without knocking. Grace! Did you use my dry shampoo? I can't find it anywhere. I covered the phone. I don't use your stuff, Meredith. She rolled her eyes, flashing her engagement ring like it was a weapon. Whatever. Oh, congratulations on the valedictorian thing, I guess. Then she was gone. Grandpa heard everything. He said nothing, but his silence spoke volumes. 1 week before graduation, I was running on 4 hours of sleep, 3 cups of coffee, and pure spite. Finals were done. My thesis was submitted. I'd been pulling double shifts at the coffee shop because rent was due, and I refused to ask my parents for help. They'd just use it as ammunition later. We helped you with rent that one time, remember? My head had been pounding for 3 days straight. I told myself it was stress. It was always stress. Mom called while I was wiping down tables after closing. Grace, I need you home this weekend. The engagement party is Saturday, and I need help with setup. Mom, I'm working. Call in sick. Meredith needs you. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. What about what I need? Silence. Then, Grace, don't be dramatic. It's one weekend. Your sister only gets engaged once. And I only graduate once. Valedictorian? 4 years of perfect grades while working myself to exhaustion. But I didn't say that. I never said that. Fine. I'll be there. I hung up and immediately felt the familiar ache behind my eyes intensify. The room tilted slightly. I grabbed the counter. You okay? My coworker, Jamie, looked concerned. Yeah, just tired. That night, I had a nosebleed that wouldn't stop for 15 minutes. It's the dry air. It's nothing. On the drive home, I got a text from Meredith. Don't forget to pick up the custom napkins and wear something nice. Tyler's parents will be there. Not, how are you? Not, thanks for helping. Just orders. My phone buzzed again. Dad, this time. Can you pick up Aunt Carol from the airport Friday? Mom and I are busy with Meredith's party prep. I pulled over to the side of the road. My hands were shaking, and I couldn't tell if it was rage or something else entirely. Rachel showed up at my apartment. Unannounced with Thai food and a worried expression. You look like death, she said, pushing past me into the kitchen. Thanks. Love you too. Rachel Miller has been my best friend since freshman orientation. She's the only person who's seen me cry over my family. She's also brutally honest, which I both love and hate. Grace. She set down the food and turned to face me. When's the last time you slept? Actually slept? I sleep. Liar. She crossed her arms. I talked to Jamie. She said you almost passed out at work yesterday. I was just dizzy. It's final stress. It's your family stress. Rachel's voice softened. Grace, you're destroying yourself for people who won't even show up to your graduation. They're coming to graduation, are they? I opened my mouth to argue, then closed it because the truth was, I didn't know. Mom hadn't mentioned it in weeks. Dad kept forgetting the date. Meredith didn't even know I was valedictorian. They'll come, I said weakly. It's my graduation. Rachel sat down across from me. Babe, in 4 years, they haven't come to a single award ceremony. Not one. Remember when you won that teaching fellowship? Who was in the audience? You and Grandpa. Exactly. She reached across the table and took my hand. Grace, you don't have to keep setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. They're not even looking at the flame. My eyes stung. I blinked rapidly. That night, after Rachel left, I was brushing my teeth when my vision suddenly doubled. I gripped the sink. The headache was back, worse than before. I should see a doctor, I thought. But there was no time. The engagement party was tomorrow. I swallowed 2 more ibuprofen and went to bed. My phone lit up. A text from Rachel. If anything happens, call your grandpa. He's the only one who actually cares. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete the message either. Meredith's engagement party. I'd been on my feet for 6 hours, setting up chairs, arranging flowers, refilling champagne glasses. Playing the role I was born into, the invisible support system. The backyard looked stunning. White lights strung across the oak trees. A 3-tiered cake that cost more than my monthly rent. 40 guests in cocktail attire, laughing and toasting to my sister's future. No one asked about mine. Grace! More champagne over here! Mom waved from across the lawn. I grabbed another bottle and made my way through the crowd. My head was pounding. I smiled through it. Meredith was holding court near the fountain, Tyler's arm around her waist. She was 3 glasses of champagne deep and glowing. Everyone, this is my little sister, she said, pulling me into the spotlight. Grace does everything around here. Seriously, I don't know what we'd do without her. Scattered applause, a few polite smiles. Then Meredith leaned in, her voice carrying just far enough. She's so good at, helping. She's going to be a teacher. Can you imagine? Wiping noses for a living. Laughter. Light, dismissive laughter. I kept smiling. My face hurt. Oh, and she's graduating next week, Meredith added, like an afterthought. Veil something. What's it called again? Valedictorian, I said quietly. Right. That. Meredith waved her hand. She's always been the smart one. But smart doesn't buy Louboutins, does it? More laughter. I excused myself to the kitchen. Leaned against the counter. Breathe. Through the window, I noticed an older man watching the scene. Mr. Patterson, Grandpa's former colleague. His expression was unreadable. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Your grandfather should know how your family treats you. I looked up. Mr. Patterson raised his glass slightly in my direction, then turned away. My hands were trembling. But this time, I didn't think it was just the humiliation. After the party, I was alone in the kitchen, elbow deep in dishes. Everyone else was in the living room, cooing over engagement photos. Mom walked in, face flushed with wine and satisfaction. Grace, I have wonderful news. I didn't turn around. What is it? We're going to Paris. The whole family. Tyler's treating us to celebrate the engagement. My hands stopped moving in the soapy water. Paris. When? Next Saturday. We fly out Friday night. Friday night. Graduation is Saturday morning. Slowly, I turned around. Mom, my graduation is Saturday. She waved her hand. I know, sweetie, but the flights were already booked when we realized Tyler got such a good deal. You're missing my graduation for a vacation. Don't say it like that. Mom frowned. It's not just a vacation. It's for your sister. I'm valedictorian, Mom. I have to give a speech. And you'll be wonderful. You don't need us there, Grace. You've always been so self-sufficient. I stared at her, waiting for her to hear herself. Waiting for something to click. Nothing did. Dad agrees with this. As if summoned, Dad appeared in the doorway. He couldn't meet my eyes. Grace, your mother and I discussed it. Meredith needs family support right now. She's going through a big life change, and graduating valedictorian isn't a big life change. You're strong. Dad's voice was tired. You don't need us the way your sister does. The room tilted. I grabbed the counter. Grace? Mom's voice sounded far away. You look pale. I'm fine. I'm not fine. My vision was blurring at the edges. The headache was screaming now. A sharp pressure behind my left eye. I need to go. I managed. Early shift tomorrow. I walked out before they could respond. In the car, I sat in the darkness for 10 minutes. Then I drove to my empty apartment and cried until I couldn't breathe. 3 days before graduation. I was lying on my apartment floor because getting up felt impossible. Rachel's voice crackled through speakerphone. They're skipping your graduation for a vacation? A vacation? It's for Meredith's engagement. Grace, stop making excuses for them. I'm not making excuses. I'm just accepting reality. That's worse. I stared at the ceiling. There was a water stain shaped like a broken heart. Fitting. For years, Rachel continued. For years you worked yourself half to death, and they can't postpone one trip? Apparently not. She went quiet, then softer. How are you feeling physically? I mean, you sounded weird on the phone yesterday. I'm fine, Rachel. Just tired. That night, I woke up at 3 a.m. with the worst headache of my life. The pain was so intense I actually whimpered. I stumbled to the bathroom. Blood. My nose was bleeding again. Heavy this time. It wouldn't stop. I sat on the cold tile floor, head tilted back, waiting. 15 minutes. 20. Finally it slowed. I looked at myself in the mirror. Dark circles. Hollow cheeks. When did I start looking like a ghost? I should see a doctor, but graduation was in 3 days. And I had a speech to memorize. I texted Rachel. I'm fine. Going back to sleep. Then I opened my photos. Scrolled until I found one of Grandpa and me from last Christmas. He's the only one looking at the camera. The only one standing next to me. I thought about what Rachel said. If anything happens, call your grandpa. He's the only one who actually cares. I saved his number as my second emergency contact, just in case. Then I swallowed more ibuprofen and told myself, 3 more days. I can survive 3 more days. If you've ever felt invisible to the people who are supposed to love you most, if you've ever been the one everyone relies on, but no one actually sees you, comment, invisible, below. I see you. I was you. And if you want to know what happened at my graduation, what really happened when I stepped onto that stage, stay with me, because the next part, I'll never forget it as long as I live. One day before graduation, Grandpa Howard called while I was practicing my speech for the 100th time. "Grace, are you ready for tomorrow?" "As ready as I'll ever be." I set down my index cards. "Are you sure you can make it?" "I know the drive is long. Wild horses couldn't keep me away." I could hear the smile in his voice. "I'm leaving tonight, staying at a hotel near campus. I want to be there early." My throat tightened. "Grandpa, you don't have to." "I want to. I need to give you something." He paused. "Something your grandmother wanted you to have." "Grandma, she left it for you before she passed. Made me promise to wait until you graduated college. She knew you'd make it, Grace. Even before you were born, she knew." I didn't know what to say. "Grandpa, what is it?" "You'll see tomorrow. Just know that your grandmother and I have always believed in you, even when—" He trailed off. "Even when what?" "Even when others forgot to." A long pause. "Grace, did your father ever tell you I offered to help with your tuition?" "What?" This was news to me. "No, he always said you couldn't afford to help both of us." Grandpa made a sound somewhere between a sigh and a bitter laugh. "Is that what he told you?" "Grandpa, what do you mean?" "Tomorrow," he said gently. "We'll talk tomorrow, after the ceremony. For now, just know this, you are not alone, Grace. You never were." I hung up the phone more confused than before. Grandpa had money? He offered to help with my tuition? Then where did it go? The questions chased each other in circles. My head throbbed, but there was no time to dwell. Tomorrow was the biggest day of my life. I just had to make it through one more night. Graduation morning. I woke up to a pounding headache and a text from Mom. "Just landed in Paris. Have a great graduation, sweetie. So proud of you." Attached was a selfie. The whole family at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Meredith pouting for the camera. Dad giving a thumbs up. Mom smiling like she didn't have a care in the world, like she hadn't abandoned her daughter on the most important day of her life. I didn't respond. Rachel picked me up at 9 o'clock. She took one look at me and frowned. "Grace, you're gray." "Like actually gray." "I'm nervous." "It's fine." "It's not fine." "When did you last eat?" "I had coffee." "That's not food." She forced me to eat half a granola bar while she drove. I managed 3 bites before my stomach rebelled. The campus was already buzzing with activity. Families everywhere. Balloons. Flowers. Proud parents snapping photos. I tried not to look at them. In the staging area, I checked my phone one more time. Another text from Mom. "Send pics. We want to see everything." They want to see everything, but they didn't want to be there to see anything. I was about to put my phone away when I noticed something. My emergency contact form for the university. I filled it out freshman year and never updated it. Primary contact, Douglas Donovan, father. Secondary contact, Pamela Donovan, mother. On impulse, I pulled up the form online, added a third line. Secondary contact, Howard Donovan, grandfather. I don't know why. It just felt right. Then I saw him. Grandpa. In the front row, already seated, already waiting. He waved. In his hands I could see a manila envelope. I waved back. For the first time all week, I felt like I could breathe. "Grace Donovan!" A stage manager approached. "You're up in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I could do this. I just had to stay standing long enough to make it through. 3,000 people. The sun was blazing. My cap felt too tight. The black gown absorbed heat like a furnace. My name echoed through the speakers. "And now, our valedictorian, Grace Donovan!" Applause. A roar of applause. I walked to the podium, one foot in front of the other. The stage lights were blinding. I gripped the microphone. Found Grandpa in the crowd. He was beaming. Rachel was next to him, phone out. 2 empty seats beside them. Reserved for family. No one claimed them. I cleared my throat. "Thank you all for being here today." My words were there. I practiced them 1,000 times. I stand before you not just because of grades or test scores, but because of the people who believed in me. But something was wrong. The stage tilted. My vision narrowed, tunneling to a single point. The microphone slipped. I heard my own voice, distant, strange. "Believed in me when I couldn't." Pain exploded behind my eyes. White hot, blinding. The world spun. I saw Grandpa's face, confusion turning to horror. I saw Rachel standing up. I saw the 2 empty seats. And then I saw nothing. My body hit the stage floor with a sound I'll never forget. Screaming somewhere far away. People were screaming. Call 911. Get a doctor. Someone call her family. Hands on my face. Rachel's voice shaking. Grace! Grace! Can you hear me? Grandpa's weathered hand gripping mine. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm here. I tried to speak. Tried to tell them I was okay. But the darkness was swallowing me whole. The last thing I heard before everything went black was a stranger's voice, urgent and panicked. We're calling her parents now. Does anyone have their number? They won't answer, I thought. Then I was gone. This part of the story, I didn't witness myself. Rachel told me later, when I could finally bear to hear it. The ambulance took 14 minutes. I was unconscious the entire time. At the hospital, doctors moved fast. CT scan, then MRI. Their faces got grimmer with each result. Brain tumor, the neurosurgeon told Rachel and Grandpa in the waiting room. Pressing on her frontal lobe. We need to operate immediately. Operate? Rachel's voice cracked. Right now. Within the hour. We need family consent. Rachel pulled out my phone, found my parents' number. First call, straight to voicemail. Second call, straight to voicemail. Third call, voicemail. Please. Rachel begged into the phone. Grace is in the hospital. It's an emergency. Call us back. Nothing. Grandpa tried next. Called his son directly. Douglas picked up on the fifth ring. Dad, we're at the airport, about to board. Grace collapsed at graduation. She has a brain tumor. She's in surgery in 40 minutes. Silence on the other end. Then Douglas's voice, strangely calm. Dad, we're about to take off. Can you handle things? We'll call when we land. Rachel told me Grandpa's face turned to stone. Your daughter is about to have emergency brain surgery, he said slowly. And you're asking me to handle it? Dad, the flight is 12 hours. By the time we get back, she'll be out of surgery anyway. There's nothing we can do from here. A long pause. Douglas, Grandpa said, his voice steel. I want you to hear this clearly. If you get on that plane, don't bother calling me again. But Douglas did get on that plane. They all did. Grandpa signed the consent forms as my emergency contact. And when they wheeled me into surgery, I had two people waiting. My grandfather and my best friend. My family was 30,000 feet in the air, choosing Paris over me. I woke up 3 days later. The first thing I saw was white ceiling, white walls, white sheets. The second thing I saw was Grandpa, asleep in a chair next to my bed, still wearing the suit from graduation. The third thing I saw was Rachel, curled up on a cot in the corner, dark circles under her eyes. I tried to speak. My throat felt like sandpaper. Rachel stirred, opened her eyes, saw me. Grace! She was at my bedside in seconds, tears streaming. Oh my God, Grace! Grandpa woke. His face crumbled with relief. My girl, he whispered. My brave girl. I tried to form words. What happened? Rachel and Grandpa exchanged a look. The kind of look that tells me something is very, very wrong. You had a brain tumor, Rachel said carefully. They removed it. You're going to be okay. Surgery. 3 days ago? I've been unconscious? 3 days. I turned my head, saw my phone on the nightstand, charging. My parents, another look exchanged. Rachel handed me the phone. Grace, maybe you should wait. But I was already opening Instagram. And there it was. Posted 18 hours ago. A photo of my entire family, Mom, Dad, Meredith, standing in front of the Eiffel Tower at sunset. The caption. Family trip in Paris. Finally, no stress, no drama. Hashtag blessed, hashtag family time. 247 likes, 32 comments, all gushing. I scrolled through the other photos. Champagne at a cafe. Meredith in a couture dress. Dad eating croissants. Not one mention of me. Not one. Grace. Rachel's voice was gentle. They know you're in the hospital. Grandpa called them. I looked at my grandfather. His jaw was tight. They know. I stared at the photo again. No stress, no drama. That's what I am to them. Stress. Drama. I closed Instagram. I didn't cry. I didn't have the energy left to cry. For days after surgery, I was getting stronger. The doctor said the tumor was benign. They caught it just in time. I didn't post on social media. Didn't comment on Meredith's photos. Didn't call to confront my parents. I just existed. Healed. Tried to process. Grandpa visited every day. Rachel practically lived in my hospital room. The nurses knew them both by name now. You need to eat more, Grandpa said, pushing a container of soup toward me. I'm not hungry. Grace Eleanor Donovan. You will eat this soup, or I will spoon-feed you myself. I almost smiled. Almost. That evening, Rachel went home to shower. Grandpa fell asleep in his chair. I was finally alone with my thoughts. That's when my phone lit up. 1 missed call from Dad. 5 missed calls from Dad. 20 missed calls from Dad. 65 missed calls from Dad. My heart stuttered. Then the texts started appearing. Grace, call me back. Important. Answer your phone. We need to talk now. Grace, this is urgent. Call immediately. Mom. Honey, call your father please. Meredith. Grace, what did you do? Dad is freaking out. I scrolled through them. 65 missed calls. 23 texts. Not one asked how I was. Not one said, we're sorry. Not one said, we love you. Just, we need you. Answer immediately. I showed Grandpa when he woke up. His face darkened. They know, he said quietly. Know what? He took a deep breath. Grace, there's something I need to tell you. Something about why they're really calling. What do you mean? It's not because they're worried about you. His voice was heavy. It's because I told them about the gift. Your grandmother's gift. And they just realized what they might lose. My blood ran cold. Grandpa, what gift? He looked at me with tired, sad eyes. It's time you knew the truth. Grandpa pulled his chair closer, took my hand. 22 years ago, when you were born, your grandmother and I made a decision. We opened an education savings account in your name. For college? Not exactly. He shook his head. We knew your parents would pay for college. That's what we told ourselves anyway. This account was different. A graduation gift. Seed money for your future. Your grandmother called it your freedom fund. How much? Grandpa hesitated. Enough to buy a small house, or start a business, or put a down payment on whatever dreams you had. My head spun. That's life-changing money. But Dad told me you didn't have money to help with tuition. That you could only help Meredith because Meredith asked? Grandpa's voice turned bitter. Your father asked me for money for both your educations. I gave it. I wrote 2 checks. One for you, one for Meredith. Same amount. Then where did my money go? I don't know, but I can guess. He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. A bank statement. 2 withdrawals on the same day, for years ago. Your parents cashed both checks. They put Meredith's portion toward her tuition and yours. I thought about their new kitchen renovation, Mom's designer bags, the vacation fund they always seemed to have. They spent it. I whispered. I believe so. And this freedom fund, they didn't know about it. I never told them. I knew, Grace. Even back then, I knew they treated you differently. This money was always meant to bypass them entirely, directly to you on your graduation day. But now they know. I told your father when you were in surgery. I was angry. I said if he didn't come home, I'd make sure you received everything. Grandpa sighed. I shouldn't have said it like that, but I was furious. That's why they're calling. Yes. Not for me. For the money. They arrived the next afternoon. I heard them before I saw them. Mom's heels clicking down the hospital corridor. Her voice too loud. Which room? Donovan. Grace Donovan. Rachel stood up from her chair. I should go. Stay. Please. She nodded. Took a position by the window. The door burst open. Mom swept in first, face arranged in perfect maternal concern. Grace! Baby! We came as fast as we could. She leaned down to hug me. I didn't hug back. You came as fast as you could? I repeated slowly. 5 days after I nearly died? Instagram says you posted from the Louvre yesterday. Mom's face flickered. We were trying to make the best of a difficult situation. Dad entered behind her. He looked tired. He couldn't meet my eyes. Then Meredith. Shopping bags in hand. Actually carrying shopping bags into a hospital room. Hey, Grace. She didn't approach the bed. You look better than I expected. Rachel made a sound in the corner. I didn't look at her, but I could feel her rage from across the room. Meredith, I said calmly. I had brain surgery. I know. That's so crazy, right? She set down her bags. Anyway, we cut the trip short, so you're welcome. The room fell silent. Then Mom cleared her throat. Grace, sweetheart, we should talk as a family. She looked pointedly at Rachel. Privately. Rachel stayed. Grace, I said. Rachel was here when I woke up. Rachel held my hand before surgery. Rachel stays. Mom's lips thinned. But before she could argue, the door opened again. Grandpa Howard. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Dad stiffened. Douglas. Grandpa's voice was ice. Meredith. He walked to my bedside, took my hand. I see you finally found time in your schedule. Mom started to speak. Grandpa cut her off. Don't. Just don't. If your family has ever come running back, not because they miss you, but because they needed something from you, they came back. In the comments. I know that feeling. I know how it hollows you out. But here's the thing. What happened next in that hospital room? It changed everything. I'd been waiting my whole life to say what I was about to say. So hold on, because this is where it gets real. Dad tried first. Dad, can we talk about this rationally? Rationally? Grandpa's voice was quiet, which was somehow worse than yelling. Your daughter collapsed on stage. She had a brain tumor. The hospital called you 47 times. We were on a plane. You weren't on a plane. You were at the gate. I talked to you, Douglas. You chose to board anyway. Mom stepped forward. Howard, this is a family matter. Grace's family. She's my family. And for 22 years, I've watched you treat her like she doesn't exist. That's not true. Mom's composure cracked. We love Grace. You love what Grace does for you. There's a difference. Grandpa turned to Dad. Tell me, Douglas, when's Grace's birthday? Dad blinked. March? No, I said quietly. It's October 15th, Dad. He had the decency to look ashamed. Grandpa continued. What's her favorite book? Her best friend's name? What job did she just accept after graduation? Silence. Rachel's jaw was tight. She knew all these things. She'd known them for 4 years. Meredith rolled her eyes. Grandpa, this is ridiculous. We didn't fly all the way back to play 20 questions. No, Grandpa said. You flew back because you heard about the money. The word landed like a bomb. Mom's face went pale. We came because Grace was sick. You came because I told Douglas that Grace would receive her inheritance directly, without you as intermediaries. Grandpa's eyes were hard. Suddenly, after 4 years of ignoring her, you're concerned about her welfare. That inheritance belongs to the family. That inheritance belongs to Grace. Grandpa's voice rose for the first time. Her grandmother left it for her, not for Meredith's destination wedding, not for your kitchen remodel. Mom opened her mouth, closed it. I watched the calculations happen behind her eyes, and something in me went cold. You want to know the truth, Howard? Mom's voice shifted, something raw breaking through. Fine. You want truth? Dad reached for her arm. Pam. She shook him off. No. He wants to make me the villain. Let's have it out. She turned to me. Her eyes were wet, but not with guilt. With something older, something wounded. You want to know why I've always kept my distance from you, Grace? Because every time I look at you, I see her. Who? Eleanor. Mom spat the name like poison. Your precious grandmother. The woman who spent 30 years making me feel like I wasn't good enough for her son. Grandpa went very still. The first time I came to this family. Mom continued. Eleanor looked at me like I was dirt under her shoes. 26 years of snide comments. 26 years of Douglas. Are you sure about this one? 26 years of never being enough. And then she died, and I thought, finally, I can be accepted. Mom laughed bitterly. But then you were born, Grace. And you looked exactly like her. Same eyes, same stubborn chin, same everything. That's not Grace's fault. Rachel said sharply. I know that. Mom quieted her. I know that. But every time I looked at her, I saw Eleanor judging me. I couldn't. She broke off, covered her face. I should feel sympathy. Part of me did. But another part of me thought, I was a baby. I was a child. I spent 22 years wondering why my mother couldn't love me. And the answer is because I have my grandmother's face. A woman I never even met. Mom, I said slowly. I'm not Grandma Eleanor. I know. Do you? Because I've spent my whole life paying for something I didn't do. She didn't answer. That told me everything. I pushed myself up against the pillows. My body was weak, but my voice was steady. Mom, I said, I understand now. You had a painful relationship with Grandma. You felt judged. That hurt you. Hope flickered in her eyes. But that is not my fault. The hope dimmed. For 22 years, I've done everything right. Perfect grades, no trouble. I worked 3 jobs so you wouldn't have to pay for my education. I showed up to every family event. I helped with every party, every holiday, every crisis. Grace, I'm not finished. My voice didn't waver. I did all of that because I thought if I tried hard enough, you would finally see me. Finally love me the way you love Meredith. Meredith shifted uncomfortably. But I was wrong. Because you were never going to see me. You were always going to see her. I turned to Dad. And you watched this happen for 22 years and said nothing. He flinched. Grace, I didn't know how to cope. How to what? Stand up for your daughter? Ask your wife why she flinches when I enter a room? It's complicated. It's really not. I shook my head. You chose the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance meant sacrificing me. Grandpa squeezed my hand. I looked at each of them in turn. Mom crying quietly. Dad staring at the floor. Meredith, arms crossed, defensive. I don't hate you, I said. Any of you. But I also can't keep pretending this is normal. I can't keep being the invisible one. What do you want? Dad asked quietly. I took a breath. I want you to see me as a person. Not as a ghost. Not as a burden. Not as someone who exists to make your lives easier. And if we can't? He met my eyes. Then I'll mourn the family I wished I had, and I'll build a new one. The room was silent. I turned to Grandpa. I want to talk about Grandma's gift. He nodded, pulled the manila envelope from his jacket, the same envelope he brought to graduation. This is yours, he said. Your grandmother set it aside 25 years ago. It's been growing interest ever since. I took the envelope. Don't open it. I know what you're thinking, I said to my parents. You're wondering if I'll share it. If I'll bail out Meredith's wedding or pay for your next renovation. Mom started to speak. Stopped. I'm not going to do that. Grace. Meredith finally broke her silence. That's so selfish. Grandma would have wanted. Grandma wanted me to have it, not you. But we're family. Family? I almost laughed. You're using that word now? After you posted Instagram photos from Paris while I was in brain surgery? Meredith's face reddened. I didn't know it was that serious. Because you didn't ask. She fell silent. I looked at Mom. I'm not taking this money to hurt you. I'm taking it because it's mine. Because Grandma wanted me to have options. To not depend on people who see me as an afterthought. What about us? Dad asked. Are we just supposed to lose you? You already lost me. My voice softened just slightly. Years ago. When you stopped showing up. When you stopped asking how I was. When you let me become invisible. I took a breath. But I'm not shutting the door completely. If you want to be in my life, really in my life, you have to earn it. You have to see me as Grace, not as Eleanor's ghost, not as Meredith's backup. Just me. And if we try? Mom's voice was small. Then we can start over. Slowly. With boundaries. What kind of boundaries? I looked her in the eye. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Meredith moved first. She grabbed her shopping bags, face tight with anger. This is insane. You're choosing to tear this family apart over money. This isn't about money, Meredith. Really? Because it sounds like I nearly died. You went shopping. She froze. I'm not saying that to make you feel guilty. I'm saying it because you need to hear it. You need to understand what it felt like to wake up in a hospital bed and see your family posing in front of the Eiffel Tower. Her lower lip trembled. For a moment, I saw something crack behind her eyes. Then she walked out. The door clicked shut behind her. Mom was crying now. Real tears. The kind that can't be faked. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, Grace. I know. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I know, Mom. But I don't know how to fix it. Neither do I. Not yet. I paused. But if you really want to try, you have to get help. Talk to someone. A therapist. Work through whatever Eleanor made you feel. So you stop projecting it onto me. She nodded, wiped her eyes, left without another word. Now it was just me, Dad, Grandpa, and Rachel. Dad sat down heavily in the chair beside my bed. Grace, he said quietly. I failed you. Yes. I should have protected you. Yes, I told myself you were strong, that you didn't need me. But that was just an excuse. It was. He looked at me, for the first time, maybe ever, really looked at me. I can't undo 22 years. But can I try to do better? I studied his face, the genuine remorse there. Call me next week, I said finally. Ask me how I'm doing and actually listen to the answer. He nodded, stood, squeezed my hand once. I will. Then he was gone too. 2 weeks later, I was discharged from the hospital with a clean bill of health. The tumor was gone. The doctors called it a miracle. I call it a second chance. I didn't move back home. I used a small portion of Grandma's gift to rent a tiny apartment near the school where I'd be teaching in the fall. It's nothing fancy. 1 bedroom, a kitchenette, a window that overlooks a parking lot. But it's mine. The fallout happened fast. Meredith blocked me on every social media platform. Her new bio read, "Some people don't appreciate family." I screenshot it, sent it to Rachel. Rachel sent back a string of middle finger emojis. 2 days later, I got a call from Rachel. She sounded gleeful. "You're not going to believe this." "What?" Tyler, Meredith's fiancé, he heard the whole story from his mother, who heard it from the hospital grapevine. Rachel was practically bouncing. "He's reconsidering the engagement." I didn't feel triumphant, just tired. That's not what I wanted. I know, but still. A week after that, I saw on Facebook that the engagement party photos had been deleted. Then the engagement announcement itself. Mom texted me. "Meredith is devastated. I hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. "I'm not happy about her pain, but I'm not responsible for it either." She didn't respond. Dad, to his credit, did call. The following Tuesday, right when he said he would. "Hi, Grace." "Hi, Dad. How are you feeling?" "Better. Still tired, but better." A pause. "Then what did you have for dinner last night?" I almost smiled. Such a small question, but he's never asked it before. "Pasta," I said. "With Rachel." "That sounds nice." It was awkward, stilted. But it was something. For now, it was enough. I'm standing in my new classroom now, arranging desks. 8th grade English. 26 students starting Monday. Rachel is helping me hang posters, or rather, criticizing my poster placement while eating my chips. "A little to the left," she says, mouthful. "No, you're left." I don't know why I keep you around. Because I'm delightful, and you love me. I can't argue with that. The room is starting to look like mine. Bookshelves I found at a thrift store. A reading corner with mismatched pillows. A bulletin board that says, "Every voice matters." My phone buzzes. "Grandpa. How's the setup going?" "Almost done." "Are we still on for dinner Sunday?" "Wouldn't miss it." I heard him smile through the phone. "Your grandmother would be so proud, Grace. Building your own classroom. Your own life." My eyes sting. I wish I'd known her. You would have loved each other. He pauses. "Speaking of which, I found something while cleaning out the attic. A letter she wrote before she passed. Addressed to my future granddaughter." I gripped the phone. "What?" "She wrote it 25 years ago. Before your mother was even pregnant. She just knew somehow." "What does it say?" "That's for you to find out. I'll bring it Sunday." After he hangs up, I sit down in my teacher's chair. The one I'll use every day for the next school year. Rachel plops into a student desk. "You okay?" "She wrote me a letter before I was born." Rachel's eyes widen. "That's kind of amazing." "Yeah." I look around my classroom, at the life I'm building from scratch. Outside, the sun is setting. Golden light streams through the windows. For the first time in months, maybe years, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. 1 month later, a knock on my apartment door. Sunday afternoon. I open it to find Dad standing there, holding a cardboard box. "Hi, Grace." I blink. "Dad, I wasn't expecting." "I know. I should have called. I just..." He shifts the box in his arms. "Can I come in?" I step aside. Let him enter. My apartment is small but cozy now. Plants in the window. Photos on the shelf, Rachel at graduation. Grandpa and me at a restaurant. My students' artwork from the first week of school. Dad looks around, taking it in. "You've made this nice." "Thanks." He sets the box on my tiny kitchen table. "I brought you something." "What is it?" "Open it." I pull back the cardboard flaps. Inside, photo albums, old books, a hand-embroidered handkerchief. "Grandma Eleanor's things." I whisper. "Your mother was going to throw them out." Dad won't meet my eyes. I couldn't let her. I lift the handkerchief. Delicate flowers stitched along the edges. The initials ED. In the corner. "Dad, I don't know what to say. I know I can't fix 22 years. His voice is rough. "I know I failed you in ways that can't be undone, but I wanted you to have these. To know where you come from." I set the handkerchief down. Look at my father. He looks older than I remember. Tired. Uncertain. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he says quietly. "I'm just asking for a chance to be better." I think about all the years of silence. All the missed birthdays and empty seats. But I also think about those Tuesday phone calls, awkward and stilted, but consistent. Every single week. "Okay," I say finally. "Okay, you can try." I pause. "But Dad, trying means showing up. Not just when it's convenient." He nods, swallows hard. "I understand. Do you want coffee?" He almost smiles. "I'd like that." 6 months after graduation, I'm sitting at my desk after the last bell. The classroom is quiet now. 26 chairs. 26 stories. 26 kids who will come back tomorrow expecting me to teach them how to find their voices. A knock on my door. Miss Donovan? It's Marcus, one of my quieter students. Can I ask you something? Of course. He shuffles in. 13 years old, always in the back row, rarely speaks up. Did you ever feel like no one sees you? My heart clenches. Yes. I tell him honestly. For a very long time, I felt exactly like that. What did you do? I think about my answer carefully. I found people who did see me. My grandfather. My best friend. And eventually, I tapped my chest. I learned to see myself. That's it. That's a lot. Harder than it sounds. I smile. But once you know your own worth, you stop needing everyone else to tell you. He nods slowly. Thanks, Miss Donovan. After he leaves, I stay at my desk a while longer. On my phone, there's a photo I look at sometimes. Me at 6 years old, holding my grandmother's hand in a picture I'd never seen before. Grandpa found it in the box of Eleanor's things. She's smiling down at me, even though she died before I turned 1. In this photo, she's looking at me like I'm the most important person in the world. I used to think love was something you had to earn, work for, sacrifice yourself for. Now I know better. Love is who shows up. Love is who stays. And I don't need to keep setting myself on fire to prove I'm worth someone's warmth. I know my worth now. That's enough. That's more than enough. 1 year after graduation, my phone rings while I'm grading papers. A number I haven't seen in months. Meredith. I let it ring twice, 3 times. Then I answer. Grace. Her voice is smaller than I've ever heard it. Can we talk? I'm listening. Tyler left. For real this time. She laughs, but it's hollow. Turns out his family didn't want a daughter-in-law from a family that abandons people in hospitals. I don't say anything. And I got into some debt. Credit cards. I thought Tyler would help cover it, but she trails off. I don't know what to do. Why are you calling me? Because you're the only person who doesn't want something from me. Her voice breaks. Mom and Dad are furious. They keep talking about how I embarrass them. My friends only like me because of Tyler's money, and I hear her crying. Real tears. The kind you can't fake. Part of me wants to say, now you know how it feels to be alone, to be abandoned. But that's not who I want to be. Meredith, I say carefully. I'm sorry about Tyler. I'm sorry you're hurting. You don't have to, but I can't fix this for you. I can't pay off your debt or make Tyler come back. That's not my role anymore. Silence. Then why did you answer? Because you're my sister, and I wanted you to know that I don't hate you. She's quiet for a long moment. I was terrible to you, she whispers. Yes. I don't know why. I never had to try. Everything was always handed to me. And you worked so hard, and I think I was jealous. Maybe. Can we ever be okay? I think about it. Really think. I don't know, I say honestly. But if you're willing to do the work, I'm willing to try. Really? But Meredith, you have to actually change. Not just say you will. I know. I hope so. 2 years after graduation, I'm sitting in a crowded auditorium, waiting for Grandpa Howard to take the stage. The banner behind the podium reads, Community Educator of the Year Award. Rachel is beside me, dressed up for once. I can't believe he's finally getting recognized, she whispers. He deserves it 10 times over. The announcer calls his name. The crowd applauds. Grandpa walks slowly to the podium. 80 years old, but still standing tall. He adjusts the microphone, scans the audience until his eyes find mine. And then he smiles. Thank you for this honor, he begins. But I want to dedicate this award to someone else. My granddaughter, Grace. My breath catches. 2 years ago, I watched this young woman collapse on stage at her graduation. She had a brain tumor. She nearly died. He pauses. And she woke up to find that the people who should have been there weren't. The audience is silent. But Grace didn't give up. She didn't become bitter. Instead, she built a life filled with people who love her for who she is, not what she can do for them. She's teaching now, shaping young minds, showing kids every day that they matter. His voice wavers. Her grandmother, my Eleanor, once told me, the people who are forgotten by the world need us to remember them the most. Grace taught me what that really means. I'm crying now. Rachel is crying too. Grandpa raises his award toward me. This belongs to you, sweetheart, for having the courage to choose yourself. After the ceremony, I hug him so tight, I think I might never let go. I love you, Grandpa. I love you too, Grace. Your grandmother would be so proud. I know, I whisper. I finally know. My family is complicated. It always will be. Dad calls every Tuesday. Mom sends cards on holidays now, careful and polite. Meredith is in therapy. We text sometimes. But my real family? They're the ones who showed up. The ones who stayed. Rachel. Grandpa. My students. And finally myself. If you've made it this far, I want to share something with you. I used to wonder why my mother couldn't love me. Why I had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Why I was invisible in my own family. Now I understand. My mother wasn't a villain. She was a wounded person who never healed from her own pain. Psychologists call it projection. When someone's unresolved trauma spills onto someone else. She saw her mother-in-law in my face. And instead of dealing with that wound, she let it poison our relationship for 22 years. And me? My weakness was my desperation for approval. I kept believing that if I tried harder, sacrificed more, achieved enough, they would finally see me. That's called people-pleasing, and it's a survival mechanism. It kept me safe when I was small, but as an adult, it nearly destroyed me. The brain tumor was the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me, but in a strange way, it was also a gift. It forced me to see my family clearly. It gave me permission to stop performing for people who weren't watching. So, here's what I learned, and I hope you'll carry it with you. You can't earn love from people who aren't willing to give it. Stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, especially when they won't even look at the flame. Your real family isn't determined by blood. It's determined by who shows up when life gets hard. And finally, you are allowed to choose yourself. That's not selfish. That's survival. If you're in a situation like mine, if you're the invisible one, the forgotten one, the one who gives and never receives, I see you. And I hope you learn, like I did, that the only approval you truly need is your own. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Something tells me you'll want to hear it. Until next time.